Assalamualaikum and hi. My name is Muhammad Nur Irsyad bin Bohari, 209732701. Today, I will present my research proposal. So, the title of my proposal is Stress Level of Student Athlete Among Sports Science Student in UiTM Campus Samarahan. Outline of presentation consists of Chapter 1, Background of Study, Chapter 2, Literature Review, and Chapter 3, Methodology. Okay, for the background of study, stress is the perception of threat with resulting anxiety, discomfort, emotional tension, and difficulty in adjustment. Celia 1983. A study by Onspach, Hemrick, and Rosato 2003 mentioned that stress comes in different forms and affect different type of people at different age and walk of life. According to Cohen, Kamarek, and Mermerston 1983, perceived stress include both positive and negative component, which is counter stress and perceived distress. So, for counter stress represent one confident in how he or she can cope any challenge or disturbance that one encounter in life, while perceived distress refers to one perception of how life situations are uncontrollable, unexpected, overloading and makes one feel distressing and annoying. Chi 2018. Next, the study by Etzel 2009 and Hampton 2003. Student athletes express concern with life-related problems such as substance abuse, academic skill difficulties, emotional adjustment, interpersonal relationship, and athletic retirement of career searching. Student athletes also confronted with sport-related issues such as competitive performance demands, injury stresses, including repetitive injury or worry about recovery, coach-athlete relationship, training issues, and others. Next, stress level and athletics have not escaped the effect of gender difference by Benishek and Lopez 1997. A study by Gang 2015 mentioned that first-year students' stress was significantly higher than those of students in other years. So, the purpose of this study is to assess the stress level, perceived distress and counter stress that student athlete from sports science student and have to examine the relationship between gender and level of education. Okay, for the problem statement. A report from Wilson, Pritchard 2005 and Alcantali and Anschel 2015 college athlete report more sources of stress which both intrinsic and extrinsic in their life than non-athlete. Some researchers stated that females are more stressed and score higher in stress inventory than male. Tawibe and Casey 2012, Kumar and Buka 2013. Aisan, Thompson and Hamara 2001 found that the junior tend to have higher reaction to stress compared to the senior, and this is due to their adjustment to the new university life. Thus, the aim of the study are to assess the level of stress, perceived distress, and counter stress among this population. Okay, for the research question, what is the significant difference between male and female on level of stress? What is the significant difference between male and female in perceived distress and counter stress? Next, what is significant difference between diploma and degree student on level of stress? And the last one is what is the significant difference between diploma and degree student in perceived distress and counter stress? Okay, the research objective. The first is to investigate the significant difference between male and female on level of stress. Second one is to investigate the significant difference between athlete level of education on level of stress. The last one is to investigate the significant difference between perceived distress and counter stress among sports science students. Okay, the research hypothesis, alternative hypothesis. HA1, there is a significant difference between male and female on level of stress among sports science students. HA2, there is significant difference between male and female in perceived of distress among sports science students. HA3, there is significant difference between male and female in the perceive of counter stress among sports science students. HA4, there is significant difference between diploma and degree students on level of stress among sports science students. HA5, there is significant difference between diploma and degree students in perceive of distress among sports science students. And the last one, there is significant difference between diploma and degree students in the perceive of counter stress among sports science students. Okay, for significance of study, this study will help student athlete to identify their perceived stress and counter stress. This study can be used for coaches to not overtrain their athlete that might increase their stress level. This study also can help the lecturer to guide the student athlete who are left behind because of competition. And the last one, the finding can be used for future researcher reference to indicate the level of stress of the student athlete in university. Okay, the limitation and delimitation. For limitation, the willingness of the respondent and the honesty of the respondent. The limitation, the population and the questionnaire. Okay, we move to definition of term. First one is stress. According to Selye, 1983, he defines stress as the perception of threat with resulting anxiety, discomfort, emotional tension, and difficulty in adjustment. Next is student athlete. A student athlete is a participant in an organized competitive sport sponsored by the educational institution in which the student is enrolled. Bias, 1964. Next is gender. Gender refers to the socially constructed characteristic of women and men, such as norm, role, and relationship of and between group of women and men. Next, level of education. Level of education refers to whether the student is in his or her diploma or degree level. Next is perceived distress. Perceived distress is an experience where an individual perceives threat and burden. Berlin, 1989. The last one is counter stress. Counter stress represents one confident in how he or she can cope any challenge or disturbance that can encounters in life. Chi 2018. Okay, we move to chapter 2, literature review. The first journal is comparing stress level and coping style in college athlete and non-athlete. The result finding is the athlete did not report higher level of stress than non-athlete. There was not a significant difference, so both groups reported the same level of stress in their life. Female overall reported higher perceived stress level as well as more negative coping style than males. Next, the title journal is Prediction of Life Stress on Athlete Burnout, the Dual Role of Perceived Stress. The result finding show that athlete burnout had a higher correlation with sport-specific life stress than general life stress and perceived distress, but burnout negatively correlated with counter stress. And the last one is the title Gender Differences in Depression, Anxiety and Stress Among College Students, a longitudinal study from China. This study's finding there was no significant gender difference in student average depression and stress level, and there is no significant gender difference were found in stress problem in this study. Okay, we move to chapter 3, methodology. So the research design, a descriptive cross-sectional study used to assess the stress level of the student athletes throughout a specific demographic. It is a quantitative research. The research framework for the independent variable, we use sports science student, then the dependent variable, level of stress, perceived stress and counter stress. Okay, for the population will be used is the undergraduate student of Faculty of Sports Science and Recreation in University Technology Mara, Campus Samarahan. The criteria of the respondent are a full-time students. The total number of students in this faculty is 290 students. Okay, for the sampling, the study will use stratified random sampling technique. The sample of the study consisting of sample 165 students of undergraduate full-time students from Faculty of Sports Science. The sample was calculated from the total population of students from Faculty of Sports Science in UiTM Samarhan, which were 290 students. Based on Krejci and Morgan 1970, by looking at the population, the sample size needed was 165. However, to reduce the dropout rate, the researcher took 198 as a sample size by adding 20% to the suggested sample size. This is the example of calculation to get the 198 respondents. Next is the instrumentation. The questionnaire consists of two sections. Section A, demographic information, which consists of age, gender, study level, and sport participation. For the section B, it consists of perceived stress scale (PSS). It is a 10-item questionnaire, a 5-point Likert scale, and have two subscales that consist perceived distress and counter stress. And the alpha value for this questionnaire is 0.78 by the journal from Prediction of Life Stress on Athlete Burnout, the Dual Role of Perceived Stress by Chi 2018. For the data collection procedure, this is the study flowchart. The research proposal will be presented to Ethics Committee to obtain ethical clearance. Next, seek for approval from Ministry of Education and School Principal. Before the real data collection, the pilot study will be conducted. This pilot study here is to examine the feasibility of an approach that is intended to be used in a larger scale study. So for the recruitment of respondent, the inclusion criteria will be Faculty of Sports Science and Recreation student and must full-time student. The exclusion criteria will be student from others faculty, postgraduate student and part-time student. Participant will be recruited from a different semester from Faculty of Sports Science and Recreation. Certified random sampling technique will be used. So this is the number for each semester that will include in this study. So the data will be collected using the structured questionnaire that is perceived stress scale by Cohen 1983. And the last one, the data will be analyzed and will be discussed. Okay, for the data analysis, the data collected will be analyzed by using statistical package of social science SPSS version 22.0. Descriptive data will be presented in mean and standard deviation. Independent sample t-test will be utilized to compare the stress level and perceived distress and counter stress between gender and level of education, which are diploma and degree students. The statistical significance will be set at 0.05. Okay, the last one is the Gantt chart. Okay, for the literature review will be done on March until July. The topic selection from March until June. The questionnaire development May until June, and the pilot testing July until August. Questionnaire validation on August. Data collection September until October. Data entry and analysis will be on October to November. The discussion will be on the December, and the report and documentation will be on January 2021. That's all from me. Thank you.